Okay, so let's continue over here with Perek Gimel. This time we're probably going to have to break it up into more than one shear for the Perek because it's a pretty long Perek. So let's get started. Perek Gimel B'min Ha'enoshi, mankind. So this is the whole Perek to explain what we are all about and how we fit into this picture of, on the one hand, perfection and it's being accessible to us, and on the other hand, chisaron. Kvar zacharnu aleph chelak aleph perik gimel seif aleph. Kvar zacharnu hayos ha'adam osa habriya hanivreis li davik bo yizbarach. So I explained already. The Ramchal says that man is this creation that was created to cling to Hashem. And this is the creation, this is the creature, the Nivra, that is balanced between perfection and lack. And it has the ability to acquire perfection. However, this has to happen through the choice and the will of the person. It can't be that he is forced. Because if a person was forced to just always do the right thing, to constantly be choosing perfection, so then you couldn't call him the actual owner of that perfection, the owner of that shleimus. And as we explained in the previous chapter, the point was for a person to achieve a goodness and a perfection that is inherent to him, and that requires that the person is the owner, so to speak, of that goodness, which means it has to be earned. But if we were forced from some other way to do it, so then we wouldn't be called the owners. And if we're forced to do it, so then the one who is forcing us is the actual owner, and we are not. And if that would be the case, then Hashem's ultimate goal would not be fulfilled, because the people would be forced to do it. They wouldn't be choosing, therefore they wouldn't own it, and therefore the good that they received wouldn't be the best possible good, or they wouldn't be the owner of it in the best possible way, and therefore Hashem's plan, so to speak, wouldn't happen. So therefore it must be that this whole plan is dependent on us and our choice. That every person's balance is between these two sides, and they're not forced to one or the other. And that every person or mankind has the ability to choose. A person has the choice, the ability to choose to acquire whichever one that they want. That's why man was created with two forces, two opposing forces inside of him, inside of their own heads. Man has both a good will and a bad will. And a person has the ability to pull themselves and decide to choose which one they want, right? This is something that I could only assume every other human being experiences the way that I do, that I can experience when I know I'm doing something wrong or selfish, and I feel the want to do it anyway, to get what I want, even if it's hurtful to somebody else or at somebody else's expense. And I know what it feels like to get over that feeling and say, no, that's the wrong thing to do, and I'm going to listen to my conscience, my good yetzer, and do that. So this is what every human being is placed in this balance and given this tool of Bechira in order to choose how they want to live their life. Base. Okay, so now this is getting a little bit deeper. We've already discussed that this man is placed between chisaron and shleimus, and that he has the choice to do so. In order for this plan, in order for this whole idea, this whole setup to be, set up in the appropriate way, so Hashem decided, again, when he says those words, these are things that, of course, it could have been done infinite different ways, but Gazra Chacham Al this is the way that Hashem determined to do it. Adam Murkov Mishnei Hafachim, that this creature, this creation, man, would itself actually be a combination of these two opposites. Tahainu, what do I mean by that? Minashama, Sichlis, Vizaka. From on the one hand, man is made of a soul, and this soul is something completely abstract, completely pure, completely, not physical. The guf. and a body, artzi, v'achur, made of the same stuff as mamash dirt is made out of. We're made from the same components, the same particles. We're made of the ground, v'achur, and it's like, thick and, muddled and unclear. Shekol echad mehem yate beteva letzido. And each one of these pulls the person to its side. The hainu haguf l'chamrios. The guf pulls a person down to the physical. V'anashama l'sichlios. And the neshama pulls a person up to the more abstract, to the more intellectual. V'timatze b'nei milchama, and a person experiences this. At least I know I do. A war all the time going on, battle between these two forces. Ba'ofen she'im tigbar haneshama, that if a person's neshama is going to win, to overcome, tis'ala hi v'tale aguf ima. So the neshama is elevating itself, and it's pulling the guf up with it, right? A person's body that is involved in doing the right thing, so that the body is elevated, the guf itself is pulled up. Right? That's a person who is achieving shleimus. They're getting there. They're perfecting their soul, and they are getting rid of their chisaron by pushing away the chisronos of their guf and elevating their guf, and that's a person on his way to shleimus. But if a person will allow for his chomer to win, right? V'hine yishafel aguf v'yishafel nishmaso imo. So then the guf is brought down, and the neshama is brought down with it, right? The neshama that's inhabiting this guf is, so to speak, like brought even further and further down here into this world. V'hiya oso adam bilti hagun l'shleimus. That person is not going to achieve shleimus, v'nidchem imenu chas v'shalom, and he's going to lose his opportunity to achieve it, chas v'shalom. V'la'adam hazeh yecholes lahashpil chamro lifnei sichlo v'nishmaso v'likno shleimuso k'mo shekazavnu. So this person, every person has this ability. We are placed in this balance. We're placed in this a war, he calls it a milchama. It's a war that is constantly happening. On the one side, my pull towards my negative traits, which the Ramchal is explaining, that all those negative traits are rooted in my guf. Like I explained in the last year, animals and people share a lot of the same midos, a lot of the same, types of traits or habits, right? And those are all the parts of us that are related to our guf. However, humans have the ability to rise above all of that and to be altruistic and to be selfless and to do all sorts of things. That's all coming from our neshama. That's coming from the part of us that knows to pull us up from this physicality, and that there's more to this, than just the physical. And that's how a person has this ability to suppress lahashpil chamro, to suppress his physicality, lifnei sichlo v'nishmaso, in the face of his seichel, his understanding, and his neshama. V'likno shleimuso k'mo shekasavdu, and to achieve shleimus, like we said. Okay. So that's already, we're understanding a little bit more of a person. A person is placed here to be this entity that gets the reward, that has to earn it. And in order to earn it, there has to be that there is a balance between chisaron and shleimus, and that it's up to me to push away the chisaron, to achieve that shleimus, to earn that perfection. And then that perfection at the end of the day is going to be me being godly and connected to God in the best, most possible way, and that's the reward. Okay, but now let's understand this a little bit more. Now we're going to talk about the place where this is happening. Where does this go on? Gimel. V'amnam gazar tuvo yisbarach Hashem. It decreed Hashem again, and this is again one of those types of things. When it says this, it means it really could have been any which way. Hashem has infinite ways He could have set up the universe. Infinite ways He could have made it a struggle for a person in order to achieve perfection, etc. Like He's explained. Ama gazar tuvo yisbarach sheyeh gvul hishtadlus hazeh. Hashem decreed that there was going to be a limit to this effort that a person was going to have to put in. That a person needs to go and do in order to achieve shleimus. Right? And Hashem set up the system such that this is not something that's going to go on forever. This is not something that like a person's going to, have to just keep on struggling and struggling and struggling and struggling forever and ever. No, there's two stages to this whole process. There's one stage of the process, which is the struggle, and then there's the next stage, stage, which is Lenetzach Nitzachim. That's going to be the forever and ever. This is very fleeting, the stage that we're in right now, because again, this whole stage is a means to an end. The end is the good that Hashem wants to share with us, Lenetzach Nitzachim, forever and ever. In order to get to there, we have to go through this stage first. But like the Ramchal says, when a person finishes their ishtadlus, yasig shleimuso, they will achieve their shleimus, they'll be there, v'yanuach bahanaso, and they're going to then be able to rest, right? It's mesuka shnasa ovid, says Shlomo Melech, it's sweet when the Eved gets to rest finally. The netzach lenetzachim, that's going to be, forever and ever. Again, these are concepts we can't really understand and relate to. However, the concept of being connected to Hashem forever and ever. And therefore, there are two separate, distinct time periods to this creation. Echad zman ha'avoda. One is the time for work. Ve'echad zman kibul ha'sachar. And the second is the time for receiving the reward. These are two separate and distinct time frames, and they are, one is, again, a means to an end, one leads to the other, right? But there are two completely different frames of existence. Right? However, we know Hashem is always, good to us and not out to get us, and therefore the avoda has a set time. The time of working and toiling is limited. Whatever the amount of time is, so far we're going, 5,780 years. We don't know how much longer it's going to go. However, the next stage, the stage of Kabbalas Aschar, the stage of the reward, that is limitless. A person will then go l'netzach nitzachim, forever and ever. That is, again, what we can't really understand. But this idea of infinite connection, infinite goodness, infinite, oneness with Hashem, that's going to last forever and ever. Okay, so the Ramchal has now explained in Oz Gimel here that there is, just like there is shleimus and chisaron, and just like there is neshama and guf, there is also olam hazeh, olam haba, and Olam Hazeh, right? That there is, a time frame where we're going to have to work and deal with this lack, and then a time frame where it's all going to be going away. Okay, Daled. V'ulam kafi hischalev zmanov kach roi shischalev matzavo v'shar mikrov. Right, and because the point of these times are different, so the person's experience, his situation is going to be different. Right? Because all the while that we are over here in Olam Hazeh, all the while that we are here in the time of Ishtadlos, the time of toiling and working, right? So we have what we need for this time period. Right? Part of the necessity of this time period is this ongoing battle, the struggle that every single person experiences every single day, the battle between their soul and their guf, between their seichel and their chomer, between perfection and lack. There's nothing stopping the guf. If a person wants to go all in on the guf, they can do it. There's nothing stopping it. There's no limit set to how low a person can go and how invested in this world and the physicality that they can go. There's nothing stopping the seichel from doing its thing and allowing every person to become completely elevated and spiritual and connected to Hashem. Right? Every person is given these two opportunities. There's nothing that makes the physicality too strong. Right? It's a perfect balance between the two. Right? Because again, if there would be anything that would be forcing a person or pushing a person in one direction versus the other, then the whole point of the setup would fall apart. Right, so all of this is the first stage that a person, it doesn't feel good that we are allowed to do bad, that we're allowed to fall into, but again, we have to have that ability in order to get to the actual good. However, at the time that we are receiving the reward, right, we don't need this whole same dynamic to be going on inside of us. Right? Because the whole point of the chomer, we're explaining the whole point of a person's physicality and their goof and their relationship to the physical world, right? This is just a means to an end. It's just a way, part of the plan, the setup that we have of pulling us between these two directions. Am I using this world in order to elevate myself and to understand Hashem more deeply in the Torah and everything, or am I using this world to sink myself lower, right? But the whole point of all of that physicality is to present us with that challenge, right? And at that time, in the time of receiving the reward, right, we realize we don't need that challenge any longer. We don't need to have that balance between the two, and therefore at that time it's going to be a time of spiritual living. Again, whatever that means is going to discuss this a lot more. And at that point, a person is going to be more angelic, and the chomer, the physicality, is going to just be like dragged after the neshama. Again, we don't really understand exactly what this means, right? But the idea being that physicality and our relationship with physicality is a temporary thing. This is, it's part of what we need to have the struggle of going through Olam Hazeh, right? But the point of it is to end up at the end where the neshama is shining and the physicality is being pulled. And that's why there's two different existences for all of this to happen. There's Olam Hazeh, this world, which is obviously the physical world. Olam Haba, Olam Hazeh, all of Olam Hazeh, with all of its physical laws and metaphysical laws, right, like free will and Yetzer Tov, Yetzer Hara, gravity, all these things, these are all part of the setup for us to be able to do our hishtadlus. So Olam Haba, the world to come, that whole setup and situation is what's fitting for the time of receiving reward once the work is over. Okay. All right, maybe we'll stop over here. This is a lot to process, and then Mitzvah will continue. So we got up through Dalid, talking about mankind, that mankind is the entity that's placed in the balance between Chisaron and Shleimus, is given two parts to him, which correspond to the Chisaron, the Guf, and the Neshama to the Shleimus. And there's also two time periods that we're going through. And those time periods, each one has what it needs for the Chisaron and for the Shleimus, Olam Hazeh and Olam Haba. Okay, Mitzvah will continue with Os Hey. Chelik Aleph, Perek Gimel.